from the Redneck Garage. While I'm out here looking at the Jeep, it's rained for the last 2 freaking days, so I haven't been able to do a lot with it. I am waiting on some parts to come in, some piddly stuff, and working on the rear, getting it cleaned up and ready to weld back in. And then Tyler, a buddy of mine that's a subscriber, warned me about the shock bolts, and then he jinxed me because all 3 of the 4 shock bolts broke off. So we're working on that, and I'll show you a little video from that. One of the nice things about having the body lifted up this high and off of the frame, higher than it will be once we're done, is that I can see my shock bolts. And Tyler reminded me that on his lift kit it took him 2 days or a couple days to get those out, and I appreciate that tip, Tyler. We're going to take a torch and heat those up really good before we try to take them out, and hopefully they won't break off. We'll heat them up and then put some coil on them right here, both of these, and see if we can get those bolts out without breaking them off, which would be super duper cool. So that's awesome. And then I'm going to apply some Aerocroil, or Croil, right? The oil that creeps. This is some of the best penetrating lubricant I've ever used. So we're going to do that real quick. This rust is just nasty stuff, man. I tell you, in that rear end of this Jeep, you can see where there's a hole here in the gas filler neck, and gas just goes through there. So I'm going to go ahead and take my torch and see if I can weld that hole up right there real quick. So that's not the recommended procedure. Here's my new one I got in, so that's cool. No rust. I don't know, I got my doubts. It's pretty dang rusty, but we'll see. One of the things I want to do now, that since I have the back section off here, right, and this cross member that supports the gas tank is really accessible, I want to get in there and clean it real well, rust treat it, and then we're done with that. We can move on. So when I put this back on, I don't have to worry about trying to get up in here. It's a big jigsaw puzzle, man, I'm telling you. Okay, I got one bolt that just come right out. It was pretty easy. This one's being a little stiffer. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, so I'm going to take my torch and heat it up just a tad right around the nut to see if that may help before I break it off, because I really don't want to have to fool with that if I don't have to. Try not to overheat it. I'm trying to just heat up this nut right here. Oh no, it's turning, but the top's not turning, so that's not a good sign. And that's one broken bolt right there. Damn it. Okay. Alright, so that was freaking awesome. 1 bolt out of 4 came out. So now I gotta either drill them and tap them or do something with them. Dang. Crap. Okay, so this is the only shock bolt that came out, and I knocked this one off. And then over on this side I got most of that one off, and I've got to knock that one off. But I'm going to go ahead and just put regular washers and bolts on there and just tack weld them in, so you should be able to just put them in like before without reaching up. And one of the nice things is that because I've got all this sheet metal removed, you know, you just got your bed here. All this is opened up and the bed is up 3 inches. It makes it really easy to get to these. Otherwise, you can imagine how hard this would be if this was sitting down where it usually was. You just about have to raise the body up from the frame to get to these. So that sucks. And sometimes you could take a air chisel and knock them up from the bottom, but being able to work on them here is really kind of cool. That's what I'm working on today. Just thought I'd give you a couple tips and suggestions on these shock bolts, man. There's no easy way around it. They just suck. Typically when I add heat to it or penetrating oil, you get them to move a little bit, but they were so fused up that they just broke right off. That was it. Now, if you don't want to raise your body up, I've heard about the suggestions of taking a hammer and a chisel and knocking those up. But let me tell you, mine were really hard. I took an air chisel on them, banged the crap out of them, and they didn't move at all. Heated them up with a torch. So that's really pretty difficult. I think you could try drilling and tapping them, but as seized as they were, I'm not sure that would work either. So I guess the easiest thing to do is kind of lift up the body if it's not too rusty and see if you can get to them from the back side. They're just a pain. Man, I've fooled with these for 2 days and got them all loose, and I'll be going back and putting new nuts on there. And it's not so bad with the way I've got the truck now, but if you just had a regular one and you're putting on a lift kit, golly, this would mess you up, just like Tyler said. Holy moly. Okay, so I got that one off, and I'm going to clean it up where the hole is. I'm going to leave that one bolt because it's actually not in bad shape. I'll use some anti-seize on the bolts for that side. And on this side, I've got both of them off and a little more cleaning there, and I'm going to weld nuts on there just so in the future if I ever have to take them off or something like that, you know, it's not such a big hassle. Just clean up that metal, straighten it up, and weld some nuts and bolts on. Anti-seize the crap out of it, and it should be in good shape. Okay, so that's been the saga of the shock bolts. It's been a huge pain. After a couple days, though, I'm about ready to go move forward. I'm just waiting for the nuts and bolts to come in. I'm going to try tack welding those in, and that's going to be it. Got a lot of videos coming up. I've been in the middle of quite a few videos just from what we're doing on the Jeep, and hopefully those will come to fruition soon. I'm David from Redneck Garage. Keep turning wrenches.